If you're fertilizing properly and your lawn still looks tired, here's the hidden truth. You might not have a fertilizer problem, you might have a soil pH problem. When the pH is off, nutrients can get locked up in the soil and the grass stops responding the way that it should. So before you buy more products, think soil test. Today, I'm going to give you 3 warning signs that your soil is wasting your fertilizer and the simple way to unlock absorption without throwing more money at the yard. Full disclosure up front, this is not an overnight process. A treatment can happen in a day, but results can take weeks or even months. In cool season lawns, like we have here in New York, Cornell guidance keeps it simple. pH matters because nutrients are most available and soil biology is most active when the pH is in the right range. That's why soil testing is step 1 and not overlooked. Warning sign number 1 is stunted growth. You're mowing, watering, feeding, and it's still not growing. That stuck look is often your first clue that the lawn isn't actually using what you're putting down. Warning sign number 2 is yellowing blades. Not its dormant brownish yellow, I mean that pale washed out color even after you feed it. That can happen when the soil chemistry is off and the plant can't access the nutrients efficiently. And warning sign number 3, most overlooked, persistent thatch. Thatch is that spongy layer between the grass and the soil. When the lawn is stressed and biology gets out of rhythm, thatch can build up. Then water struggles to move through and your roots stay shallow and everything becomes more frustrating than it needs to be. Cornell's guidance straight up tells you to stop guessing in those trouble spots and test the soil, especially the pH. Here's the easiest way to picture it. If a person has a digestion problem or absorption issue, they can take the best nutrients and vitamins on the planet and still not get the benefit. The answer isn't take double the vitamins forever. The answer is fix the system that absorbs. Your lawn's the same. The root zone is the gut, and soil pH is a huge part of the lawn's ability to absorb the nutrients from the soil. When pH drifts to acidic or alkaline, uptake gets harder and the fertilizer response gets weaker. Turf Science nutrient guidance points out that soil pH affects the plant's ability to take up key nutrients and that turf performs best within a pH range that supports uptake. So even if you're applying expensive fertilizer onto reactive soil, you're not feeding the lawn. You're often just paying for nutrients to sit there or even worse, leach away. Now here's the payoff. And if you remember nothing else from this segment, remember this. Stop guessing and test the soil because the fix is completely different depending on the direction your pH is off. Step 1, the soil test. Cornell's turf guidance is also very clear here. Measure the pH and the nutrients first, then apply only what is recommended. Step 2, if your soil is too acidic, the correction tool is lime. Lime is used to raise pH when it's low, and if a large amount is needed, it should be split and rechecked in a few months. Timing-wise, we like retesting in the fall because you're giving the soil several months to work before spring growth really ramps up again, unless we can hit it in early to mid-spring, and then we can double-check it in like mid-summer, so if we need another fall correction, we can hit it then. And don't do this when the lawn is stressed from heat and drought. Spring and fall are definitely your friends here. Step 3, if your soil is too alkaline, the correction tool is usually elemental sulfur, but again, only based on the soil test. Sulfur also needs warmth to react, so late spring and early fall are best for application timing, and avoid those peak heat stresses of summer whenever possible. Step 4 is the recovery schedule that prioritizes conditioning and not more nitrogen. This is where most people waste their money. They see yellowing and they panic spread more fertilizer or they water more often. Meanwhile, the issue is actually pH and/or stress. So we go conditioning first, proper mowing height, smart watering, and if thatch is part of the big picture, address the thatch and compaction so roots can actually function. Then we feed appropriately. Cornell's lawn guidance here also ties good fertility and pH management to stronger, more resilient turf, not endless fertilizer feedings. And in New York, this matters for another reason. New York State DEC literally tells us not to pay for the phosphorus that you don't need and to look for the zero in the middle number on the bag and only use phosphorus if a soil test says you need it. And this rule is all about water quality, but it's also about wasting money. A soil test and a targeted correction is almost always cheaper than the cycle I see all the time. 2 extra hope it works fertilizer treatments plus the extra time and the added frustration. When pH is optimized, your existing program has a fair chance to perform. The roots can push deeper and the top starts looking the way that it should because the lawn can actually use what's already there. Quick question, which one are you seeing right now? Stunted growth, yellowing, or excessive thatch? Comment just one word. And if you want us to run a soil test and map out a correction schedule so that you stop wasting money in fertilizer, hit the link in the bio. We'll build a plan around your results and we'll keep it New York appropriate and compliant.